You may shoot me with your words. You may cut me with your eyes. You may kill me with your hatefulness. But still, like life, I'll rise.
I refuse to accept the view that mankind is so tragically bound to the starless.
Welcome everyone to the Black News Beat. We're actually broadcasting on a Thursday, so thank you for joining us. I'll give you guys a couple minutes to come into the room while I do my intro, but I'm glad. I'm happy it's Thursday. It has been a long week, and so I'm just happy to be here with all of you. We have a packed show for you as usual and a very special guest. We had also just finished celebrating K. Leroy Irvis Day last week on May 6th and 7th. It was an excellent showing. Shout out to our illustrious chair, Rep. Nelson, and to the executive director, April V. Ash, for pulling off an excellent 2 days of literal action, bringing in some amazing speakers from across the country to talk to the folks here in the Commonwealth, and all the legislators from across the state for coming. So I'm very happy that I got to partake in that. Shout out to everyone for that. And if you don't know about K. Leroy Irvis, a very historic figure in Pennsylvania, the first state house, the majority speaker on any state house in the country. He was the first Black speaker of the House in the nation, of any state in the nation. And here, a few, maybe almost a generation later, followed by Joanna McClinton, the first Black woman Speaker of the House. So we have a lot of history here in Pennsylvania that you should be aware of. And if you don't know who K. Leroy Irvis is, you should look him up and put it in the chat. Have you heard of K. Leroy Irvis before now or not? And if you are in Pennsylvania, need to know. If you are a Black Pennsylvanian, need to know. Even if you're not born and raised here, if you are a Black Pennsylvanian, that is on a need to know. You need to know who that required knowing. You can read about him on the Pennsylvania Legislative Black Caucus website. You can also read about him he's got a Wikipedia page. Shout out to his granddaughter, Elise Irvis, who actually has a business downtown called Culture and Commerce Co-working, where we do a lot of stuff out of. So his legacy lives on through her. She was very prominent in the day. She did a couple sessions and panels. So yeah, we have a lot of wonderful Black history here all year round for us to enjoy and understand. So I hope you learn more about that. But K. Leroy Irvis, he broke down doors so that we could walk through them. But right now, there are folks across the country who are trying to change the locks on those doors. And we're going to talk about that today, too. And we are here to keep it honest and keep that conversation going. And take a moment right now to share the stream. Go to the Black News Beat page. We are actually broadcasting from 4 different places. We are on Instagram. We're on Facebook. We are on LinkedIn, and we're on YouTube. So any of those places, look for Black News Beat or look for my name, Dr. Kamiki Campbell, and share the stream so that we can get the word out about today's episode. All right. And my favorite things to talk about in the beginning of the show are what national day or month it is. Today, we have a couple of different national days vying for attention. First up, which I think is in no particular order. Okay, so if I didn't mention your day, you can tell us what it is that you're celebrating today. But these are the national days that people actually put in for and get recognized. It is National Buttermilk Biscuit Day. Did y'all know that buttermilk biscuit had a national day? I think it's apropos. I think it's a day to celebrate this Southern staple. It's fluffy, buttery, perfect for breakfast, lunch, or dinner. Honey, I could eat a buttermilk biscuit any time of the day. But I think it's important to talk about the South. So many traditions, particularly Black and brown cultural traditions that spread across the country, come out of the South, like the buttermilk biscuit. Black folks perfected a buttermilk biscuit, honey. Don't let anybody tell you different. And so, celebrating National Buttermilk Biscuit Day to me means celebrating Southern culture, particularly Black Southern culture, in the current climate where they're trying to literally carve out Black people out of the political conversation and out of the cultural conversation. It is also National Decency Day, a day to celebrate basic kindness, respect, and civil conversation. I'm going to just take a moment of silence because that has gone to the wayside, has it not? And we need to bring it back. And I know a lot of you will accuse me in particular of not having decent conversation, but baby, when I try to do that, y'all don't respond. Y'all like to get yelled at. So maybe we want to think about what it means to have civil conversation in the future. And on to our national months. Today, we have a bunch of national months that people are celebrating. It is Mental Health Awareness Month, National Physical Fitness Month, Stroke Awareness Month, very important, especially for women. Strokes show up differently for women than they do for men, so always something to be very cognizant of. I still have a stroke recognizer, kind of a fridge magnet to make sure that I'm at least thinking about fast, your facial and all the different things that you have to know to feel like if strokes just show up different for women. So, be cognizant of that. Look that up. It is also that month for that. It's National Strawberry Month. Yummy, delicious. It's National Salad Month. Some of you might say boo, but I say yay. I like a good salad. My friends on The Morning Experience, another show that I'm on, they make fun of me because I said the side dish that I was bringing to Thanksgiving was a salad, and it was a hit. I just want y'all to know. And last but definitely not least, my favorite part of the National Month celebrations for May into June is National Asian American and Pacific Islander Heritage Month. It's also Jewish American Heritage Month and National Military Appreciation Month. But I like to celebrate AAPI month locally with our Happy Coalition, the Harrisburg AAPI Coalition. And they every year they commission the ube latte at my very favorite one of okay, don't put an asterisk, one of my very favorite coffee shops in the city, Elementary Coffee. So right after this, I should have got it this morning, but I'm not gonna lie to y'all, I was asleep. I'm gonna get me a ube latte. It is purple. It is so pretty. And ube is a purple sweet potato, and it is so delicious. And they do a really good job with this latte. So I'm definitely going to be getting one from here on out. I hope you stop by Elementary Coffee and support the fundraiser that Happy does every year for AAPI month. So that's a little bit of what's going on with our National Days of Month. We're going to get into what's happening in the news, though. So let's see what's happening around the country and around town. Let's sweep these streets. It has been a crazy couple of, and so I didn't come to you last week because I had two shows a week before. Before I get into the news, shout out to the Shippensburg crew for Shippensburg Ship You, Dr. Rebecca Harris. You guys did an amazing show with the show last week at Ship. That was my first university show. More to come. If you haven't seen that episode, please go back and watch it. But we have, I want to talk some more about some of the different things that are going around the country and around town. There's a lot going on. And if I don't get to everything, please let me know what you want to talk about as well. Because this is, every day we're inundated with something new. Every day a new right is being taken away. Every day there's some crazy thing happening in the news. So we want to keep up with everything, but we also want to do it in a streamlined way. This is part of why I do the show. So I can talk about things and get it out and have an outlet and not feel like I can't do anything about it and can't at least raise awareness and start the conversation in my community. So, of course, we're going to talk again about K. Leroy Urbis Day really quickly. On May 6th and 7th, Harrisburg and the surrounding area and truly the state and our state reps showed up and showed out for the 5th annual K. Leroy Day Urbis Days of Action. The turnout was absolutely phenomenal. There were, in just eyeballing it, there were over 180 to 200 people who came over a couple of days. The Days of Action panels that we had on the 7th were excellent, and people showed out for that. We have to give a massive shout out to April Ash for putting in the incredible work, and the entire committee, the K. Leroy Urbis Days of Action Planning Committee, for making this event happen and bringing the community together to honor a true Pennsylvania legend. And truly, K. Leroy Urbis is a legend. Why it matters, K. Leroy Urbis was the first Black Speaker of the House in Pennsylvania and the very first in any state in the legislature since Reconstruction. Giving flowers to our trailblazers while continuing their work is how we keep the doors of opportunity wide open for the next generation of Black leadership. And again, shout out to the Pennsylvania Legislative Black Caucus and the Pennsylvania House Democratic Caucus for that information. Next up, dismantling the Voting Rights Act. So we've seen the ripple effects of this since it's happened a little over a week ago. It is such a tremendous loss. We're going to feel these ripple effects across communities, across the South first, but don't think that the South is the only place that this is going to be felt. This is going to ripple effect all over the country. So what happened is that the conservative majority on the Supreme Court just delivered a devastating 6-3 ruling in the Louisiana versus Callis case. They completely eviscerated Section 2 of the Voting Rights Act, which has been the absolute backbone of the civil rights protections in our elections for 6 decades. So let's state the facts, right? And fact check this. The framing from the Danger Yam and his allies, y'all know who I call the Danger Yam, is that they are simply restoring neutral election laws without using race as a factor. That's what they claim. But what's the facts? This is calculated. targeted to attack and silence Black and brown voters. They have set up impossible new legal hurdles so that states can openly disguise racial discrimination as standard partisan politics. And we know historically that's not true. And we also know historically from what exactly happened the week following, in the last few days following that decision, that this literally is not true. The proof of the racism is in the actions they took after the Voting Rights Act was gutted. This is leaving us almost no legal protections against vote dilution. Right? So let's talk about that fallout, because we have really, really difficult fallout from the from the Voting Rights Act and from the subsequent redistricting, and also the other redistricting that was also happening around the nation. So following that disastrous Supreme Court ruling, states across the South are already rushing to redraw their electoral maps to favor incumbents and erase minority voting power before the next election cycle. Well, why is that? Guess what's coming up? The midterms. Okay, so what does this mean for Pennsylvania? While our state constitution offers strong protections against gerrymandering, the federal ruling emboldens map makers everywhere to test the boundaries and slice up our neighborhoods. Furthermore, when other states successfully suppress our voters, Black and brown voters, look at what just happened in Virginia. We're going to talk about it in a second. The overall makeup of Congress shifts, even if the majority of the people don't want it, because of how we draw the maps. This is why it's important, y'all, that y'all vote in every single election, no matter what. The specials, ones that pop up, it doesn't matter. Every 6 months, if you have an election in your state, you should be voting. So when that directly impacts our federal funding, our civil rights, and our representation right here in the capital region and beyond. So we have to stay vigilant. We have to keep up what's going on, and we have to be aware. A lot of folks didn't even understand what was happening until we started talking about it here and in other spaces. So let's look at the states. Louisiana, the governor ordered the ongoing congressional election to be set aside. Ain't that something? The congressional election that decides the House and Senate seats? Interesting. Lawmakers are redrawing maps to eliminate one of the two Black majority districts. Just open discrimination, openly. Like as soon as the Supreme Court made that decision, they're openly just doing this now. Because racism is, I guess, is in mode. Specifically, the 6th district covering Baton Rouge, despite 42,000 ballots already having been cast. Florida, Governor Ron DeSantis signed a new voluntary redistricting map on May 4, 2026. It eliminates every Democratic majority district except for 4 PAC districts on the South Coast and Orlando, effectively diluting the power of Black and brown voters. Tennessee, Governor Bill Lee signed a new map on May 7th. Lawmakers amended a state law previously which previously banned mid-decade redistricting to allow this redraw. So you went back on your word, said no mid-district redistricting to allow this redraw, resulting in an estimated gain of 1 Republican seat. Alabama, the legislature entered a special session to draft legislation that would allow them to set aside completed primary results from earlier this year if the court lists the current injunction on their maps. Mississippi, the legislature is set to convene in late May to eliminate the Democratic majority in the state's only district currently held by a Black representative. So do we see it's not even a domino effect. It's literally a watershed, right? It's an avalanche because this protection was eliminated. We're not even, poor Virginia, the will of the people disregarded by their own Supreme Court. It's astounding. It's astounding. And it's stuff that we need to watch out for. Don't think that because you live like in a state of like New York or Pennsylvania or New Jersey or any other state that is quote unquote democratically held, that you are safe. You are not. You are not. These states in the South has picked at least Democratic presidents for generations. So diluting the Black and brown power in the South means that they are also fixing this so they can elect the type of presidents they want to. Pay attention to what is happening. Moving on, so we all lived through 2020 and 2021. It was tiring. It was awful. And we don't want that to happen again. But there is a newish virus from Argentina on the loose called the hantavirus. So what happened here? Global health officials are tracking a serious international health alert. That's what they're calling it right now, a health alert. It's not a pandemic. It's not even an epidemic. It's a health alert. A new hantavirus outbreak linked to a cruise ship in the Atlantic has resulted in 11 cases and 3 deaths. The virus was identified as the Andes strain, which has a long incubation of up to 40 days. So that means for like 42 days, you could be getting people sick, which is crazy, and not even know you have the virus. So why does that matter? While this outbreak originated overseas, the Andes strain is rare because it actually allows for human-to-human transmission. Public health departments are actively monitoring returning passengers on a cruise ship back to the United States to see what they are. I think they're being held in incubation period because the incubation period is 42 days to see, how they develop. It is a critical reminder that global health threats move fast. We are no longer in a world where it takes so long to cross overseas. Like I can be in London in a matter of hours if I leave right now. So these viruses and the threat of viral spread is very real and something that we need to be taking seriously, no matter what's happening at the national level. So you can still mask, you can still make sure that you are washing your hands, you can still make sure that you are being cleanly, because viruses thrive in environments where they are not thoroughly clean. So that's something we should know. We need to keep our family safe by staying informed on the symptoms, which include fever, severe muscle aches, and breathing difficulties. Listen, this sounds like every virus I've had in the last 3 years. Okay. I always tell this story, and I posted a reel about this a couple of weeks ago. I often get sick since I've had COVID, and I've had COVID twice. So I've had adenovirus, I've had the flu, all these different things still come to me, and I get them a little more often. I think it's also a little bit of age, but so all these symptoms sound the same. So you want to be very vigilant about what's happening with your body so that you can get a checkup if you need to, and also take care of yourself. Moving into media and melanin, this is one of my favorite segments. So I'm never going to stop talking about this movie. My cousin, Alicia Harris, she has her very first feature film coming out tomorrow. It's called Is God Is. And I got to screen it. And I want to say something. I didn't get to talk about it as much on the show as I wanted to, but I had a reaction. And I've been thinking about it because I wanted to go see it again before the official time. So I'm going to do that. But I had a reaction to how children take on the sins and missteps of their parents and what you do with it in the next generation. And I feel like it's both a warning and a liberatory tale. It does draw on some Greek mythology, but it was also it made me think deeply about what I want to take in to the next generation in my own life. And I hope it does that for you guys. So I hope you go see it tomorrow. I was trying to do a spoiler-free version because I don't want to give it away. But I did have some major reactions, and I'm keeping it completely spoiler-free because I really want you to go see it. It comes out tomorrow. But the journey it took me on, it caused me for several days to reflect and write about how children take on the sins and missteps of their parents and what we do with that. Or do we want to live a free and liberated life, or will we be engulfed by the past? And it's a very interesting kind of setup there. So And the reason why this matters to me, truly as a researcher, right? So someone who spent years studying cultural historic activity theory, I'm always looking about how our environment and history shapes us, because those two things, right? It's nature versus nurture, nature versus nurture. This play turned movie, it's a masterclass in showing what happens if you let the sins of your parents consume your entire identity. And that's something I struggled with my entire life. So I hope you find some solace in that and some reflection in this. It's a heavy journey, but necessary for anyone interested in the legacy of trauma and the search for justice within a family. It's very good that way. And then next, let's talk about Kevin Hart's roast that just came out. Okay. So Kevin Hart, mogul, he's a comedy mogul. He's on everybody's screen. He's in every medium. He's facing significant backlash after sharing a photo of his creative team for his new project. Fans and critics immediately pointed out that the room appeared to be entirely white, leading to a viral roast across social media, in addition to the roast that was also quite weird. So I don't know if you guys saw, Michael Che had a lot to say. No spoilers. I want you to go see it. It's very weird and awkward, just so you know. But Michael Che had a lot to say about this. He said that, the types of people writing the jokes for you really matter, and how it translates as far as like racism is concerned, and insensitivity and racial insensitivity is really important. There's some really bad, crassly written jokes that may be funny to some people, but why is it funny and who's it funny for is always that conversation. And I think I wrote on Threads, I was like, hey, but if Kevin Hart likes it, I love it. If that's the way you want to be represented, if that's how you want people to roast you, I guess that's okay. If you think overt racism is funny, have a good time. I don't personally enjoy that type of comedy, but hey, to each his own. Not really, but that's what you have to say in order to leave people alone and agree to disagree sometimes. I highly disagree. So the thing here is the framing often used by big stars, even black ones. Like when you get to this level, it really is ubiquitous. In these situations and others, is that they are simply hiring the most qualified talent or the people they think are the best, regardless of the race. But the fact here is an industry where black stories are frequently told through narrow lenses. The absence of black writers in a black lead's room is a choice. It's a choice that he made. It impacts the authenticity of the voice and limits the opportunities for diverse creators to break into those high rooms, right? Hiring other black and brown writers to write this roast and to write the stuff that goes into that, not hiring them is a choice. It's a very specific choice. And I know folks think they're being avant-garde. Like, as somebody who tries to be funny every once in a while, I try to be more academic. I understand the creative freedom to do the things. I get it. But also, is racism that funny? And if your jokes aren't really funny and it's depending on the racism to be funny, then who are you writing for? And why do you think that'd be funny to us? Whew. So we got through the first part. We're going to be back with our upcoming events, and I'll see you in a sec. Thanks for sticking with us.
I served in the Air Force for 23 years. I was proud to stand for my country. But I'm not going to stand for what Congressman Scott Perry is doing in Washington. He's forgotten about us. Perry voted to cut health care that veterans rely on. That's just not right. We deserve our health care, and Congressman Perry is trying to take it away to give more tax cuts to billionaires. That's just cruel. I'm an independent. I care about issues that impact veterans. I wish Congressman Perry would stand with us.
Welcome back to the Black News Beat. I hope you enjoyed that first segment. We will be rushing right past this next piece to get to our guest, so stick right with us. We have a very special guest today. So just want to talk about some upcoming events. We always have events coming up. This segment is brought to you by the Young Professionals of Color, Greater Harrisburg, and Fulton, Pennsylvania, and Culture and Commerce Co-working. Those are the three entities that usually give us some great events to talk about. So first of all, Topics Tuesday is every Tuesday at 19.5 North 4th Street. That's 19.5 North 4th Street in downtown Harrisburg. This week was really good. We got together, and as we always do, we watched the city council meeting. We want to know what's going on in our city, and we want to be proactive, and we want to make sure that we're keeping in tune. So we saw some budget appropriations and some other public comments. YPOC was there making public comment in advocating for Juneteenth HBG. Shout out to all the chairs who were brave, stood up, and said, we demand, better for our city. I'm proud of you guys. Thank you for being in community with me. Thank you for being leaders in our community. This is what leaders do. When they see things that they think need to be addressed, they address them. So go back and watch that city council meeting. I think you will find it very, very interesting. And shout out to the people who've been posting about it and showing their support for what we talked about. I'm going to leave it spoiler free as well. So go and watch that city council meeting. And also just come to Topics Tuesday. It's so fun. Happy Hour is the last Thursday of every single month. So it could be a fourth Thursday. It could be a fifth Thursday, but it is the last Thursday. So please go ahead and help with that. Please come out to that. I think it'll be really important for you to think about. And then I want to talk about our happy hour for YPOC last Thursday of the month. This Thursday, we're going to be at, we're celebrating AAPI month. Remember, we talked about that earlier. We're going to be at the Swatera Restaurant and Bar at 5610 Dairy Street, Suite 9. 5610 Dairy Street, Suite 9. There's a lot to say. But come on and hang out with us. We do happy hour every month last Thursday of the month. It could be the fourth or the fifth Thursday. Next, we have True Hope LLC. This is one of my friends. We were actually honored together in a recent, shout out to Mr. Makesha Brown, in one of his Black Think Tank events. He honored the both of us, and she's having a mental health awareness through her organization, True Hope LLC of Harrisburg, PA. She is doing a community event on the May the 30th from 12 to 4. It's going to be at Hotel Indigo. They're going to have guest speakers, vendors, food, entertainment, door prizes, bingo. You should check that out. She is a wonderful, wonderful community advocate. She's a mental health advocate. The tickets are $10. They're on Eventbrite. So please support her and the work that she's doing. She's been doing great work in this space. I think it's definitely worthy. And then I skipped one on the 21st. We're going to have the Moms Mini Retreat. It's going to be a Culture and Commerce Co-working. Moms, definitely sign up for this. I'll put all the links in the chat. Sign up. Make sure that you are there. It is a free event for moms. And the cost of entry is your story. You want to know your story. How are rising costs affecting you? And we also want to bless you. We'll have mini massages. We'll have medical consults. We're going to have spa gifts. We'll have brunch. Brunch starts at 10. Services start at 10:30. Shout out to Jazzy's Good Eats. Shout out to Dr. Gina Charles. Shout out to O-Rock Primary Care. Shout out to Haley Berry, who's our massage therapist. So we have a lot of great people coming to service you. Please come out and enjoy that. On the 31st, Victoria McCullum is throwing an event. We're back at Culture and Commerce and Culture Co-working. Creative Kiddos and is going to be there on the 31st with a beautiful day of arts and fun for the kiddos. And last but not least, Juneteenth HBG is coming up. First of all, did y'all see that we were in Essence? I'm so proud of us. We are on the Essence list of Juneteenth celebrations to watch around the country. This is our 7th year, so this is big for us. So we're really proud of that development. If you don't know yet, please go to juneteenthhbg.com, juneteenthhbg.com. So a friend of mine just hit me and she said, I'm going to read this to you. She said, people keep asking me how they can help and why there's no information on the parade on city platforms. We'll get to that. But we're going to talk about so if you want to help, go back and watch City Council. I'm not going to say too much. I'm trying to stoke the fires or anything. But go back and watch what we presented on Tuesday at City Council so you can see more information about what our ask is. But we're asking you to support Juneteenth HBG. It is going to be the 14th to the 20th of June. That is literally a month away from today, and we need your support. We have a great lineup. First of all, we are kicking it off on June the 14th virtually. We're giving away tickets and everything to the different shows and different things that we have. On Tuesday, we're going to have, Young Professionals of Color in all of this, we are turning 10. So our first event is going to be, the in-person event is going to be on June the 16th at Men in the Kitchen on their second landing. And we're just going to have a nice little VIP reception. Please look out for an invite from that. To sponsor that is $75. But if you would like to come, please hit me up. And plus, we're going to be giving away tickets and things so that you can come and enjoy this. So that's on the 16th. On the 17th, we have our summit. Our summit is going to be June 17th at Harrisburg University, starting at 8 a.m. Breakfast is at 8. Session started at 9. Thursday, we have the Taste of Black Harrisburg. That's going to be on North 4th Street, centered on culture and commerce co-working, but we're shutting down that street. On Friday, June 19th, is the Jubilee at Riverfront Park in Shipoke, right across from the hospital. On Saturday, we're doing our second annual Juneteenth Parade in downtown Harrisburg at 12 p.m. And on Saturday night is the Juneteenth concert, okay? Zeddy Will, Honey Baby, and Keith Murray. Now I'm old. I needed somebody for the old folks, and Keith Murray's it for me. So I went back and listened to his entire body of work so I could be ready. But Zeddy Will is pretty amazing and pretty hot right now in these streets, and Honey Baby is also amazing as well. So come and join us for that. What I want to say about this is we want to do a good job for you. So we are working hard to pull off this parade, but we need your support. We need you to sign up for the parade. We need you to download your tickets for the free giveaways. And we also need you to enter to be in the parade. So this parade is something that we did last year. We had over 800 people in the parade. We had 1,500 people on the street. That's 2,300 to 2,500 people outside in the rain. And it was raining, and we still had an amazing time. So we want to build on that for you. So if you could please go ahead and show your support. We want to show our city administration and our city council that this is something that the people want, so that we can get more support for that. So make sure you do that. And we're going to take a short break because we're going to be coming back with a very special guest. Mr. Shane Steele is here. He is running for the Pennsylvania State House in the 104th District, and we're going to talk about his work and what he's been doing. All right, so I'll see you in a sec. We'll be right back.
Tonight in Harrisburg, the Young Professionals of Color are honoring Black History Month by looking ahead. Fox
43's Melina Brown has more on the event focused on Black History Month and Harrisburg's future Juneteenth festivities.
We all got blood in our veins.
In a room filled with community leaders, families, and young people, the future.
I am Little Miss Black, Pennsylvania Junior.
And the foundation of Harrisburg stood side by side.
I am the Juneteenth concert chair, as well as YPOC board, and founder and CEO of Power Choice Productions.
The young professionals of color hosted the event to honor Black History Month, with a special focus on the city's upcoming Juneteenth celebrations. Organizers say it's about more than just planning a festival, it's about celebrating the culture.
Music, art, storytelling, fashion, community, entrepreneurship.
Part of Thursday night's event was the focus on connection. People listened to stories, music, and art, while community leaders encouraged the next generation to take ownership of their future.
Black history is important to me because it's about my origins, and I feel like everybody should go out and learn more about Juneteenth. And I feel like that it's important that everybody learns about what happened back then.
The event highlighted the week-long festivities happening in Harrisburg for Juneteenth, including a parade and a concert open to all.
It's a very diversified experience. In a sense, there's not just one genre of individuals. You have older, you have younger. It's family-oriented, it's educational, it's fun.
Organizers say events like these help bridge the gap between generations and continue to be a space where history isn't just remembered, but lived, shared, and passed down.
It's a great way for us to be able to just celebrate the uniqueness that we share, and where we can have pride in the things that we do, and to give hope and to just stimulate our people with joy, innovation, creativity, and fun. And you know, we like to have a good time, so come to the cookout.
Yeah, everybody should probably come out here and, see about Juneteenth.
Milena Brown, Fox 43 News.
Welcome back to the Black News Beat, and we are here with a special guest. We are welcoming Mr. Shane Steele to the show. How are you?
Good. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. He is quite the prolific community person. He is running for the 104th House District and the Pennsylvania State House. He's a current commissioner in Swadera Township.
Correct.
And you're also a firefighter?
Firefighter and fire chief.
Jeez, and fire chief.
And father of five.
And father of five.
And a husband.
And a husband. Amen. You listen, you can't leave the husband part out because listen, we would get yelled at by the wife, and we don't want to do that. But no, he's here, and we are so glad he's here to talk to us for a few moments. Thank you for coming. How are you?
I'm good. Appreciate you for having me on the show here.
Of course. How's the race going?
It's going. I mean, we're energized. We're headed in the right direction, and we think we have a pathway to victory.
4 days and a wake up. That's all we got.
I know. That's it. Well, and we believe the wake up part is happening.
Yes, it is.
Obviously, you know about our campaign. Our campaign is people over politics.
Absolutely right.
So for us, we believe this great awakening is happening in our communities, and it's only a matter of time before it continues to grow.
Absolutely right.
And spread across the whole entire county, the country, hopefully.
Absolutely right.
And
absolutely right.
We get these. I like to call them crooks out of office.
Okay. And how has the race been so far? So I know early on, and I somehow got involved in this too, but early on you had a challenge to your petitions before you even got on the ballot. So talk us through that. What happened?
Yeah, I mean, this process has had a lot of challenges. Okay, a lot of stressful days, a lot of long nights, but from the very onset, we didn't even know if we were going to get on the ballot because we knew we were going to be challenged by Dave Mattson and his camp. Because that's the history that he has. You know, the first time he ran, he knocked two prominent black women off the ballot, and then the next time he ran unopposed. So we were ready for that because that's his tactic to get off. So that was the first part. I think we had a limbo of almost like 15 days where we couldn't even do anything with our campaign. We couldn't really put anything out or even get started like normal campaigns would have to do because we had this challenge lingering over us, right? But we were hopeful. We knew that the information that we had for our challenge, that there was going to be some remediation out either in the court system or what actually happened. Dave Mattson and his team decided to drop their lawsuit, and subsequently we agreed to do the same, which we offered from the very beginning and the onset of the two challenges.
So somebody reached out to me when I subsequently commented on your post and I said, keep speaking up. Somebody said, well, Shane challenged first, so doesn't that make him the aggressor? What do you say to that?
I don't even know if from the timing they might have challenged first. I'd actually have to go back and look at the court documents because I had a last minute challenge. It was actually, you had to file by 5 p.m. You had to serve the Secretary of State. And I think ours was timestamped for like 4:57.
Whoa.
So right.
Literal last minute.
Literally last minute. I mean, they filed electronically. We filed in person. And I'm happy for my team because we did everything ourselves. We don't have a high profile attorney out of Philadelphia that we can call up, or a chief of staff's girlfriend that we can use to challenge our petitions, right? One of our staffers, and we also don't have a staffer to go around and actually collect these signatures on state time. But for us, the challenge
don't have all those resources.
Right. But for us, the challenge, if you look at us, we were challenged the circular. We were challenging the certification of the circular. We did not want to go after individuals' signatures. There were a lot of improprieties of those that circulated his petition. And one of the ones we found, just as an example, how can you say you circulate a petition and 1 week you live in Lancaster and the next week you live in Harrisburg?
Interesting.
Where do you live at? Which one is it, right? And then the same thing we had.
And that is disqualifying. That is not a small issue for petitions.
Right. And we tried to do a lot of this behind the scenes so, we could choose at the ballot box, but that's not what they wanted. And then, what I found, the biggest improprieties for us was you had to the 17th to challenge the petitions. But what we found is an application was put in on the 15th to register as a Democrat in Dauphin County, which was a Sunday. The county offices are closed, but then you show that you're registered as a Democrat in the 104th on a Wednesday, which is, the 18th. Well, you head to the 17th to challenge. And that's where we found a lot of improprieties and the collusion between the county office. And I don't know who it was. I don't know if it's a staffer in there or the director, but I tell you what, there was a lot of improprieties. And I'm actually scared for this election, because we believe in free and fair elections, but we believe it starts at the petition process.
It does, especially in a district where these things are decided in the primary.
Right. I mean, so our campaign is going to be bold, and we're going to be transparent, and we're going to be honest. And some things that we're going to say are not politically correct because it needs to be said. In order for us to wake up our community and actually make change and get some of these special interests out of our government, we believe that we have to be bold. We have to be honest. We have to be truthful.
And how do you think your experience prepares you for the seat?
I think realistically, I think my experience growing up, and I share some of this with my platform. I've lived in the city of Harrisburg. I've lived in Stilton. I've lived in Sweat Township. I've lived with food insecurities. I've witnessed domestic abuse with my mother. I've witnessed drug addiction, alcoholism. So I'm no different than one of these kids around the street, except for, I was given an opportunity and resources to bring myself out of that. Right. And I think the mindset of the current politician that I'm running against and his team does not understand where I had to come from to where I had to get here. So it's a lot of fighting. It's a lot of battles. It's a lot of back and forth when you're fighting against a system of corruption and they want to maintain their power. But I think Harrisburg City, Stilton, and Sweat Township have prepared me for this. And just the grittiness that I had to go through to get where I'm at now and fight to survive. This is, I don't want to say it's a cakewalk because it's not. It is mentally draining. It's taxing, but we're prepared for this fight because it's bigger than us. It's about the people. And I know if we give up now, I think our future doesn't look good for us.
Why this seat? Why now? What about the incumbent makes you so sure that a change is needed in this district?
I can just see it. So, I mean, some of the things are the statistics, right? I just became an elected official in 2024. really, you really don't understand the politics and the workings and inner working and legislation and things like that until you get in.
Mm-hmm.
You see it from the outside, but you really don't know till you're in. So for me, why now? When I look at, some of the district that has a 20% poverty rate, some of the district where only 14% of our kids can read, the crime rate's through the roof. Why not a better time? Because my feeling is I don't see any elected officials, one, acknowledging these issues that I'm talking about, or even speaking out about them. I see them on camera all the time. They pick and choose what issues they want to talk about. But for me, the core issues are the community. And that's what you're responsible for as an elected official.
Yeah.
We don't hear them talk about it. And this platform's different because you don't hear most people saying that, right?
Mm-hmm.
And everybody thinks, well, we can throw some money at it, we can legislate it. Even if that's your mantra that you want to run on, where's that at? We don't have those resources. And the second part to that, that's I find is when you look at these special interests and these contracts that have been ran through the local municipal governments, the school districts, and even at the county level, because you're hearing about the corruption, these special interests have depleted our resources, our monetary funds. Almost every single municipal government in the 104 is in some type of financial bad shape or has a built-in deficit to their budget. So it's time, like, Mr. Mattson, I'm gonna be honest with you, on May 19th, you're getting your resignation papers, and January, you're getting terminated by the people. So we're going to fix that. Okay. And we're going to do that through community leaders, religious leaders, elected officials coming together almost like what you would consider a caucus. And we're going to run our region, and we're going to figure out where our emergent issues are. And that's where we're going to put our resources. I think me by myself, there's no way I can do it by myself. But I think if I put this coalition of people together, I think we can fix the 104. And it's not going to happen in one election. I'm not naive. I'm not naive because I know when I get there, there's going to be more stumbling blocks put in front of me, so we won't be successful. But I say this, as long as we have the people behind us, no one can stop us. Absolutely no one. And that's what we need.
And the district is very diverse as far as like urban versus suburban, a little bit of rules in the district. Talk to me about how the people across those districts, across those different parts of the district, can look to you for leadership as very different people in the district. They're very different backgrounds, very different everything.
Yeah, I mean, that's very interesting because when you think about it, a lot of people think this is a Harrisburg city seat, right? And it's not.
Only half of Harrisburg.
Well, 72% of the votes are outside the city of Harrisburg, right? But I mean, when you look at the district from a standpoint of races, I mean, we have mixed cultures, mixed races, which is a beautiful thing, right? When you get outside the city, you get to the suburb. I mean, we have a white community, we have whites intermingled with blacks and Asians and Latinos. So it is this great, diverse culture district. I think, but we all face the same issues. We all face poverty. We all face paycheck to paycheck. We all face it at the pump. We all face the education piece. I think the only thing that we're seeing is when you go out towards the suburbans, like when you look at a Paxton, they're about 4% poverty. When you look at Sweater, they're about 8%. So when you get to the boroughs, that increases, right? When you look at the school districts, the way they're laid out, yes, statistically, Central Dauphin has a better chance of a better education than Central Dauphin, but they're facing the same budgetary crisis. Yeah. They're facing the same economic crises. So I think that we're not too different. We're not too different in any way, shape, or form across the whole district. And we need change. It's time for change to actually fix things. I mean, you look at Still High, and I pity those teachers down there. We're about to lay off 28 teachers.
Wow.
And majority of them are special education. We go down. Needed. Right. We go down to the steel mill and say we want to open Cleveland Cliffs. But, Stilton needs to recognize that they need to look at the bill that was passed by my opponent, where he's giving tax breaks to billionaires. You go speak at a podium that you want to help people out, but then you give tax breaks to billionaires with no mandates. And see, I'm fine with tax incentives, but there should be some mandates. How long are we going to keep those jobs on for? How long are we going to produce steel for? Things of like that nature. So
now, this has been a very hot topic across the country, tax breaks for billionaires, tax breaks for billionaires. People are seeing, I full disclosure, I work with Affordable Pennsylvania, and we do all issues of affordability. We're talking SNAP, we're talking healthcare costs, we're talking gas prices, we're talking different healthcare stories, so many different things that are affecting people right now. Costs on mothers, costs on carers, just grocery costs. How do people live? And I was just having this conversation the other day. People keep asking poor people to budget. But if you just learn how to budget, meanwhile, on the other side, we're giving tax breaks to billionaires. How do we reconcile those two in a district like the 104th?
Well, we've become a society where, a lot of the stimulus to the economy is based upon government and government budgetary. When you look at the federal government, when you look at the state government, when you look at the local, they're the largest consumers when it comes to spending and consuming. I can get behind some smart taxing policy that helps those that are marginalized. The problem that I see is, and I say this all the time, corporations are the largest welfare recipients in this country.
Why don't they learn how to budget? That's what I want to know.
Well, they do. And that's the thing. They do, but
they budget on the backs of people. But,
absolutely, on the back of labor. And their thing is, profit. So I think where we actually help people do better is you have to reduce taxes on your paycheck, because the more you earn, the more you're going to spend, the more you're going to put back into the economy.
How it works.
And that's how it is. And I'll give you an example. Like, a lot of people in the state of Pennsylvania don't know, you're up to almost 60 cents on every gallon of gas that you pump that is taxed by the state. Exactly. It's actually higher than the federal tax on gas.
Yes, it is.
There's some things that we need to do right now. A freeze on that tax. If we're looking.
What does that tax go to?
It goes to build bridges, roads, and things of that nature. And then my understanding, a portion of it is it's built into the liquid fuels tax that go to local municipal governments for them to pave their roads and things like that, keep the street lights on. But there comes a point in time where we continue to tax people back into poverty, and that's what we're doing. And if you think the middle class is the middle class any longer, the middle class has been obliterated, right? You have the have and the have-nots, and then you got the fortunate and unfortunate in that what they consider that middle class. And I like to say the fortunate, they're able to put a meal on the table every single day. The less fortunate is going to have to go, hey, can I borrow $10 so I can get some gas and get back and forth to work? I'll give you the money back when I get paid. The fortunate in that middle class is still living paycheck to paycheck, minimum credit card payments. They're just trying to make their mortgage payments. And at some point, the scary thought is, and we're going to be real here, when that middle class group becomes less fortunate, the streets aren't going to look the same. People are going to turn uncivilized. And that's what we're trying to stop right now. We're trying to bring the less fortunate to the fortunate.
Absolutely.
And then make the fortunate better.
And this is what I keep people... I do tell it in a funny way, but I'm like, people are going to start stealing again, period.
They're fed up. They're tired.
If they cannot meet their bills, they can't feed their families, what else are they going to do? What else are they going to do? And you can't, not only can you not tax your way out of poverty, but you can't keep telling people to get better jobs in an economy that doesn't have any.
Doesn't work for them.
They're not getting hired.
Right.
And if there are jobs, they're not hiring for the jobs. How do you reconcile these things? But you made a comment. I saw you at the Dauphin County Dems candidates night. And you made a comment and you said, you are not that far apart from Dave on policies, but you would be different in the community. Could you expound on that?
Yeah. So for me, it's I'm in the community. So I'll use the South, for instance. I was just walking out the South the other day. You can be damn sure you're not going to see Dave daylight in the South, let alone night. Okay. So for me, part of this coalition thing too is because I'm in public safety and I understand public safety. I understand police side. I understand EMS side and fire. Like, one of my initiatives going to be that's going to separate me from Dave in the community is if any type of violence or any type of shooting happens in the city of Harrisburg where it requires a response from police department, I'm going to ask the local municipalities that when the scene is safe, this team of leaders, whether it's going to be me, religious leaders, community activists, we get an opportunity to be in the community right there as things are transpiring, right? And talking to the people, because that's how you're going to quell the violence. Them types of initiatives separates me from Dave. Dave's going to sit in the confines of his house watching on WHTM news. I mean, the guy just said he lives in one of the highest criminal zip codes in Harrisburg, and you're proud of that. That's nothing to be proud of. So that's one of the first things that separates me. And then I know the people and the actors that are perpetrating some of the frauds and abuse upon our people, and I'm going to start naming names here soon, and that's the difference where Dave wouldn't. Another part of that is I've already have an established working relationship with a lot of these elected officials, so getting this team and this coalition together is going to be fairly easy for our team. And after May 19th, we're going to talk a little bit more about what our plan is, because that's when we're going to start putting our transition team together to be able to transition into January. But I mean, I think it's an easy set apart. I grew up from the neighborhood. I'm from the neighborhood. I know the people in the communities. If not, they know my family. They know my grandma. I mean, my grandmom had a hair salon here for 30 years, so she knows a lot of the people as well, even though she passed away. But a lot of people know her and knew me as a child. So I think that's the difference in the community aspect that sets me and Dave apart. I'm actually from the community. Dave's not from here. He doesn't walk the streets. He doesn't live. He's never lived the way our people in the district have lived. And that's the only way you can really make a change. Like, I'm not a recovering alcoholic, but I can only give you so much, but that recovering alcoholic can really give you the information you need to help you recover. Sort of like that. That's my example to it. So,
and a lot of folks, I've asked politicians over the years this, I think I've asked every single politician. Folks say that, I had someone, when I asked them, to just give you an example, that when I said, what are you going to do for the people of Harrisburg in the seat that you're running for? And that person said to me, well, I'm not running for mayor of Harrisburg. And I say that because how do you connect, right? What goes on in the state house directly to the district benefit for the people of the district? And because the 104th splits Harrisburg, but also, still informs, even though, for example, my rep is Nate Davidson in the 103rd, but choices that Dave Madsen makes, whether Dave is my rep or not, is going to affect us over here, and also going to affect the people in any adjacent district that's touching any other township that the 104th represents, right? So how does what's happening in the state house, the votes that are taken in the state house, how does it directly affect the people on the ground, and what should they be looking out for?
I think it impacts them. I think it's a real impact, especially if it relates to the resources that are supposed to be in their community, from a financial standpoint. And just an example for that is, if you need your roads fixed, but, the state legislator makes appropriations to another district, how does that affect your district? Well, your roads look like they're in disarray, right? One of the things that I know that I want to put forth immediately is we have an issue with pre-hospital care in Dauphin County, the whole entire county, right? And that includes your representative in other districts. So this will get us a point here, an example of what you're speaking about. So we have a EMS crisis right now, and a lot of people aren't talking about it. It's not even on their radar. And I mean, when you look at Life Team, who provides some of the best services in Dauphin County to our rural counties and surrounding areas, sometimes, Sweater Township might be getting an ambulance out of the city of Harrisburg and vice versa. And the same thing goes for Lower Paxton, where they have their own EMS provider, but they're so stretched thin that Harrisburg City's Life Team has to go in there. And I think those decisions that we make impact the whole entire county, but not only the different seats. And I'll touch on another piece, because it's a good part that you said about the mayor. I think our elected officials currently right now at the state level don't have relationships with all these other municipalities within their district. And I think that's why we see the budgets the way they are. I think that's why we see some of the crime the way it is, the poverty, and the education issues. Like, okay, I can't directly make policy for Harrisburg School District unless it's at the educational state level, right? But why can't I be impactful to get around a table and have a discussion and see what resources that I can give them from a state level to make them successful? And that's some of the things we're going to do.
Absolutely right. Yeah. Thank you for that. And then other social economic issues that you've been talking about, and approving educational attainment, advocating for fair wages. Can you talk to us about how those things are correlated? I know I've talked about them. I know other people talked about them, but educational attainment and job security. Yeah.
So our education piece is, some of the ways we look at it, the funding formula, I think it needs to be reevaluated, right? Because what I see is, across, and I'm talking across the whole entire state. And, I understand that the funding comes from where you look at a municipal government that is able to tax, and the property tax allows the school district to generate tax, but the state also infuses money in. So, here's the offset. If you look at the formula where the state infuses money into a local school district, but that's a well-to-do municipal government, and that's a well-to-do township or borough, well, their funding levels are higher when you think about it. So when you look at, students teachers per student, excuse me, they can afford it. Now you go to a place like Stilton, let's use that for instance, where their tax base, they just raise taxes again too. But they're almost taxing their people out of Stilton. And that's because they need to survive. The municipal government has to survive. And the school district has to survive. But if you look at the formula for what the state monetarily puts in there to help them versus their property tax, they're not benefiting the same way Sweater Township and Central Dolphin School District is. They're not benefiting the same way King of Prussia is in their school district, because our taxing ability in Sweater Township is greater. Wow. You know, we're not in a situation where we have to worry about redevelopment. Stilton has they're landlocked. Only way they increase, tax assessed values through redevelopment, building new houses. And that's where we get into a situation where you're going to start to see gentrification. And that's what we want to stop. So for the education piece, for me and education attainment, I think we need to revisit the formula. But I think, like I said, when we have those 28 teachers, when we're giving money to this nonprofit and this nonprofit from a state level, how about we, for the next year, say we're going to pay for the salaries of those teachers to hold them there, those 28 teachers plus special education. That makes an impact.
And can you do that from a state level?
Why can't you? If we're giving out money to a nursing home here, a community organization here, why can't you? I mean, it's another government entity given to another government entity. It's whether or not we want to or not. That's the difference, right? What are our priorities? And I think that's how we increase education at the places that we're having it. And to touch on your other point, for me, especially when it relates to wages, anyone in this country that thinks $20 an hour is a livable wage is not paying attention to the prices at the grocery store, the gas pump, even just to buy your kids clothes. I mean, that's insane.
I think our area, the livable wage was calculated somewhere around $28.
100%. Now, do I understand that, we have to work our way to that $28 or $30 an hour? That's fine, because we understand that as we raise the wages, so the cost of goods are going to happen. Here's the thing that the federal government and the state government have to realize that has to happen. There has to be a cap on profits, because that's what makes the cost of goods keep going up. It's the cap on profits for the corporations. And then there's another piece. You got to have fuel that is cost effective for a corporation, because most of our goods are built the price is based upon the transporting of those goods,
getting them to where
that's
we
it.
are.
And then it's the fuel, right? So we have to be smart. And I think revolutionary when we think about the new ideas to move
absolutely
not only the district forward, the state and the country.
Absolutely right.
But we're also, the legislators are scared. They're scared to death to do it, because they're corporate
money interests.
That's it. The lobbyists are attached to them, and whoever paid for their campaign or continues to give them money, they're the lobbyists instead, and they're not concerned with the people.
That's very sad and very true.
Right.
Okay. So closing words. Tell the folks we've got 4 days to wake up. How do you want to be supported in your last few days leading up to the primary?
So the biggest support that I need from each and every one of you is, one, to acknowledge the problems that we are having in the 104, and then that's going to anger you. And when it angers you, I need you to go to the ballot box on May 19th, and I need you to vote for that change. Vote for Shane Still for state rep. If you are in the city of Harrisburg, Sweater Township, Lower Sweater, High Spire Borough, or Stilton Borough, or Paxton Borough.
Perfect. Thank you so much for being here. This is a very enlightening interview, and I'm wishing you the best of luck. And hopefully you can come back after May 19th and tell us how you did.
We're winning. I appreciate it.
Absolutely.
We're claiming the victory.
That's right. Right. Thank you again so much. And we will be right back with Last Lap. Thank you so much for joining us. We'll be right back with Last Lap. See you in a few seconds.
Hola, ¿qué tal? Mi nombre es Néstor Romero. Nuestro objetivo es el servicio a la comunidad que desea tener su casa propia. Contar con un hogar es muy importante para nosotros, por ello estoy preparándome cada día más para servirles con todo profesionalismo y responsabilidad para que ustedes, mis clientes, se sientan satisfechos con mi trabajo. Junto con mi equipo estamos listos para prestarles todos nuestros servicios. Nuestro equipo puede orientarles y llenar sus expectativas de todas las personas interesadas en comprar y vender una casa. Cuentan con mis conexiones, inspectores, prestamistas, constructores y carpinteros quienes están dispuestos a hacer realidad sus sueños, si se puede.
Hi, welcome back to Black News Beat. I hope you enjoyed this interview with Shane Steele. He is a very enlightened person, candidate for the 104. So I hope you enjoyed that. I've had candidates throughout the season on the show. So if you want to be in the show, come on down. We would love to hear from you. I know it's only a couple days left, but we'll definitely be kicking it with folks after the primary to see how they are doing. See how things shake out. It is 4 days to the primary, y'all, and that's what I want to talk about right now. It is time to vote. It is time to vote. I want you guys to really, if you haven't voted already, I have my mail-in ballot, so I already voted. But I want you to take stock of all of the different things that are on the ballot. We have very important seats. We're voting for the state committees. For yours truly is on the ballot for state committee, for Democratic State Committee. Please vote for me if you live in Dauphin County. But we also have our state reps are on the ballot. And in many of our municipalities and our localities, our regions, our districts, whoever wins this seat for the primary wins the state house. So it is very vital that you're paying attention right now. A lot of people skip their primaries. Don't do that. Because when you get down to November, you're only going to have one person to vote for and you're going to feel disenfranchised. The primary is where it's at for you, especially in places with more mono political landscapes. So make sure that you are thinking about that. Make sure you're thinking about who you want to vote for. Make sure you're researching them because the choice is in the primary. Don't forget to return your mail-in ballot. If you haven't done it already, it's Thursday. It's too late in my book. It won't get to your ballot box on time, so drop it off to the county office on 28th Street or put it down on 2nd Street, North 2nd Street in front of the county building. Put it in the return box. Don't forget to put your envelope. I was going to bring my ballot today, but I forgot I had already put it in the boxes. All right. But don't forget to put your ballot in the secrecy envelope and then put the secrecy envelope in the envelope to be returned. If you don't do those two things, you are in danger of your ballot not being counted. Be thankful that we are in Pennsylvania, though, because Pennsylvania, we have the more favorable vote laws for voters, for us to actually vote. And in Dauphin County, we have even more favorable because we actually have mail-in ballot drop boxes. We have 7 in the county. You can go and vote in person at our county office. You can register for your mail-in ballot right then and there, take it and turn it in. So we have all of these different mechanisms here for you to vote, and you can actually go to your polling place on election day. But if you, for any reason, feel like you're not going to make it on election day, you have up until 4:30 on Monday to vote in person, vote by mail in person. So please do that if you cannot get to the ballot box on Tuesday. But it is important that you vote. It's important you turn out. You all see what's going on in the country. I could go on and on about what's happening, but it is your time to vote. We have affordability issues to talk about. We have so many different things that we need to address as a nation. This primary, it is a fight. November is going to be a fight, but the fight doesn't happen if you aren't in it. So please vote. Please stay in this fight. And I'll see you next week. I will be back here, hopefully on Wednesday next week. I got a lot of things going on, but hopefully Wednesday next week, we'll be back. And I'm excited to see just what we can do together for this primary. Let's see how it shakes out. This has been the Black News Beat. I hope you guys have a wonderful day. As I say every show, big up for you guys. Without the community, none of this happens. Big up yourselves. Clap for yourselves. Love on yourselves. And this has been the Black News Beat. I'll see you next week. Have a good day.